Hello, everyone. My name's Alex. I'm a Russian native speaker and
Whoa, whoa,
teacher.
whoa, 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 wait a minute. It's actually me. And this is Elder Phillips, my very good friend from Australia. And today we're having an interview with him. So, hello, Elder Phillips. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I better get started with my name. So, my name's Elder Phillips. I am from Australia. I'm from the city called Melbourne. I'm 20 years old and I've been living in Russia now for 2 years. And so, I came here as a volunteer for my church, for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I came here just to help people, to serve people, and to teach people in Russia. So, yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Interesting. And what expectations did you have before you came here? Maybe some
This
stereotypes, anything.
This is one of my favorite questions because I had no expectations before I came to Russia. So when I found out that I was coming to Russia, I really didn't know what to think because there are a few stereotypes that exist about Russia, that there's bears everywhere, that everyone drinks vodka, that people, especially I've heard the stereotype that people are very closed. They don't smile a lot, they don't laugh a lot. I think you've shown me that that's not true. And so I kind of had a few like weird expectations, but I didn't really know what to expect. I did expect it, however, to be cold all the time. And it's not always cold, but it is pretty cold still.
hmm And I mean, how do you like Russia so far? I mean, how do you like the people, the culture, just life?
I really like it. I love the culture, obviously. I love the people. I just love the country. Everything about Russia is really interesting to me, obviously. It's very different to what I'm used to back home. I haven't seen a lot of things back home that I've seen in Russia. But the longer that I live in Russia, the more and more I start to love it. And the more and more I feel like I'm a part of the culture, you know? And so I really like it here. I've lived in 5 cities so far. I loved every single one.
hmm And do you think Russians are somehow different from Australians?
I would say that fundamentally we're all very similar. I would say that there is a bit of a difference between the Russians and Australians in the kind of gostoprimstvo, which kind of refers to how the Russians are very good at having guests and they look after us so well. They give us tea, they give us biscuits, they give us whatever we need. And people are just really, really friendly. It's a really, really friendly culture and I really like it. I think it's wonderful. Yeah.
Was there anything that amazed you when you came to Russia?
Mhm. The first thing that amazed me definitely, I would say, was the Russian architecture. At first, I couldn't speak the language, and so I didn't really hear much about the history, about the culture, but I could see the buildings. And I remember my first day in Rostov, I got here and I looked out the window and I saw one of the big Russian Orthodox temples, and it was just beautiful. And I was amazed to see it. It's very different to the architecture that we have back home, but I saw it and I just realized that, wow, I'm in Russia. And I've really come to love the look of the Russian cities and the architecture here in Russia.
Okay, we can move on to one of the most interesting parts about the Russian language. So, Otto Phillips, was it hard for you to learn Russian?
Oh yeah, it's still hard. Yeah, it's still hard, and I don't think it will be easy for me for quite a while yet. So I've been learning for 2 years now. When I first got to Russia, I knew very little. I knew a few words. I knew how to say "Здравствуйте," "Привет," "Как дела?" That's pretty much it. Maybe a few other things, but not a lot. But it was really difficult. But I found that the more and more I speak to people, the easier it gets. And now that I've been here for a little bit of time, I really love speaking Russian. It's really fun for me, and I really enjoy studying it. Yeah.
And can you think of the most difficult aspect of Russian that you struggled with? Maybe cases, conjugation of verbs.
That's a great question. I think the easy answer is to say the whole of grammar, because grammar in Russian is just really different to English grammar. And it's quite difficult for me. I would say the hardest part about the grammar has definitely been cases, because in English, I think we have 2 cases and we never study it.
Yeah.
So when I found out that there were 6 cases in Russian and that there was gender, that was a real surprise and a bit of a shock to me. But there was a point where I feel like it just clicked and it started to make sense. Having said that, it took a lot of work to get to that point. I think cases is probably the hardest part for me.
And do you have like a favorite Russian phrase or Russian word maybe?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a tricky one because I don't even know sometimes. One of the phrases that I say a lot is "разберемся," which kind of just means we'll work it out, like we'll work something out.
Yeah.
I also say a word or a phrase that I say a lot is "всё хорошо" because it's just a literal translation of the English phrase like all good. The thing is, in Russian, it doesn't really sound the same. It's kind of a bit strange, but I just say it a lot, and most of the time, people understand me. Yeah.
Okay. What tips can you give to the people who are watching us right now, Russian learners?
Okay, I can think of 2 main tips. First tip is find yourself a Russian friend who you can speak Russian with. So I think one of the things that helped me the most when I got to Russia is just speaking the language. Even when it's hard at the start, the more and more you speak, the more fluent you're going to get. The other piece of advice I would give is just keep going, because at the start, Russian's quite difficult and it's quite daunting. I never thought that I would be able to really get the language when I started learning it. But in time, it gets easier, and before you know it, you're able to speak to people, and it's so much fun. And so I would just say to anyone who's learning Russian, just keep learning Russian, and it will all work out after a bit of study and work.
Interesting. Phillips, давай немного поговорим по-русски.
Давай немного, да, хорошо.
Да. Что ты можешь сказать о климате и природе России?
О климате могу сказать, что тут очень холодно. По сравнению с Австралией особенно. Когда я приехал сюда, в Россию, Пензе было где-то, вот там, где я жил, было где-то минус 15 градусов. Мне это очень холодно, снег был везде. Поэтому я бы сказал, что это холодно. С другой стороны, летом тут достаточно жарко, и мне это приятно. Так что о климате тут холодно в основном. О природе, природа России очень красивая. Я, к сожалению, не видел природу так часто, потому что мы чаще всего живем в городах, там, где нет природы почти. Но, как я понимаю, красивая природа в России тоже, да.
Окей, а что насчет русской кухни? Давай так, что самое вкусное и невкусное ты ел в России?
Ну, позволь мне сказать, во-первых, что русская кухня вообще-то очень вкусная. Что самое вкусное, я сказал бы борщ. Я знаю, что как он не совсем русский, все равно очень вкусно. И особенно домашний борщ. Как я один раз в столовой попробовал борщ, мне было нормально, но домашний борщ очень вкусный, я так считаю. Что самое невкусное, легко. Я сказал бы сразу холодец. Я один раз съел, никогда не буду еще раз в моей жизни. Просто я не понимал, как люди едят холодец. Так что я думаю, что это самая невкусная еда.
Ну, кстати, я согласен. Мне тоже холодец вообще не нравится. Не знаю, как его вообще придумали. Филлипс, расскажи, а как русские люди обычно реагируют, когда узнают, что ты иностранец и с Австралии вообще?
Хороший вопрос. Чаще всего им удивительно. Как они все знают, что я иностранец, чаще всего они думают, что я либо из Америки, либо из Германии. Когда я им говорю, что я из Австралии, им это странно и неожиданно немножко. Но они вообще-то очень хорошо реагируют, и они очень рады с нами общаться чаще всего. Особенно с нами хотят говорить на английском очень часто, потому что знают, что я носитель английского языка, но вообще-то они очень счастливы, когда они знакомятся с нами.
Вот, кстати, про английский. Что ты можешь сказать о уровне английского у русских людей?
Приезжая сюда, я ожидал, что тут никто не знает английский. Получается, что это неправильно. Как особенно русские люди понимают английский гораздо лучше, чем я думал. Как иногда я говорю с моими друзьями, которые из Америки, из Англии, и я вижу, что русские люди очень часто нас понимают нормально. Конечно, сложнее общаться для них на английском, потому что мало практики в России, но вообще-то есть несколько, которые очень хорошо говорят на нем, как и ты в том числе. Так что, в принципе, я сказал бы, что есть хороший уровень английского языка в России, да.
Филлипс, большое тебе спасибо за интервью.
Спасибо тебе.
Скажи, пожалуйста, пару слов для наших зрителей.
Конечно. Ну, во-первых, приятно было сделать это собеседование. Я надеюсь, что все вы, которые изучают русский сейчас, я надеюсь, что вы продолжаете. Все у вас получится, если вы просто усердно работаете над русским языком. Я просто люблю Россию, и тут все очень хорошо. Так что спасибо вам, да.
Спасибо большое за просмотр, ребята. Увидимся на моем канале. Всего доброго.